Ever picture yourself on like a massive dredger? Sun's coming up over the water, you're about to move, tons and tons of sediment.
Yeah,
That's the daily life, the daily grind for a dredging supervisor. And if you want to know more about it, well, you're in the right place.
it's definitely not your average desk job.
Not at all. And we're going deep on this career using, the info you provided, surprising perks that you might not expect, the gritty realities, even how technology is kind of changing the game here. We're dredging it all up.
I think what gets me every time is just how multifaceted the role is. You're not just someone who's operating machinery, but you're a project manager, a safety officer, environmental compliance.
Wow.
It's a lot rolled into one.
Okay, so before we go full throttle into all of that, how would you explain dredging to someone who's maybe never even seen a harbor?
Think of it like underwater excavation. You're essentially removing sediment, anything else from the bottom of lakes, rivers, harbors, really anywhere that water needs to flow freely, keeps those shipping lanes open and prevents flooding, so it's a big deal for commerce and the environment.
So it's like strategic relocation, not just digging stuff up.
Exactly, yeah. And that's where our dredging supervisor comes in, right? They're the ones who make sure these projects are done safely, efficiently, and by the book, which, believe me, is a whole stack of regulations.
I bet. I'm seeing in these sources that something like 72% of the job is mechanical know-how. What kind of mechanics are we even talking about here? Is this like knowing how to fix a car, but bigger?
Think bigger and wetter.
Okay.
You're dealing with hydraulic systems, pumps, cutters, conveyors, heavy-duty stuff. A dredging supervisor needs to understand how all of it works together, how to troubleshoot problems on the fly. Because when you're out on the water, things can go wrong, and they can go wrong fast.
So what does that 72% actually translate to, let's say, on a Tuesday morning for a dredging supervisor? What are they actually doing with that mechanical knowledge?
So Tuesday morning, you might start your day inspecting the dredge for any mechanical issues. Could be anything from a leaky hose to a faulty sensor.
Right.
Then they're probably coordinating with engineers, mechanics, to address any issues. They need to be able to explain what's wrong, understand the fix, and make sure it happens quickly because, like I said, time is money on these projects.
And what about that other big chunk of the job, the 52% dedicated to operations monitoring? I mean, that sounds important, but also kind of vague.
It's really the heart of decision-making for a dredging supervisor. It's about constantly analyzing data from the dredge, like dredging depth, production rates, sediment density.
Oh, okay.
They use all that information to make real-time decisions. So should we dredge deeper here? Do you need to adjust the dredging pattern to maybe avoid an obstacle? It's about constantly monitoring and optimizing that operation for efficiency and safety.
So you're saying dredging supervisor needs to be equal parts mechanic, data analyst, and, like we said, quick thinking problem solver.
You got it. And we haven't even gotten to the people skills yet.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. They're also leading teams. They're coordinating with contractors, communicating with stakeholders, all in what can be a really high-pressure environment with long hours, often in challenging weather conditions.
Okay, so we've established this is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
What about the upsides? Why would someone willingly sign up for all of that?
I think that's where it gets really interesting, right? You're working outdoors on massive engineering projects with tangible results. You're literally helping to shape coastlines, deepen harbors, even restore ecosystems. It's a career with a real impact.
I can see the appeal in that. So for someone who's hooked, what does the path to becoming a dredging supervisor even look like? What do you have to do to get your foot in the door?
Well, a solid educational foundation is really essential. We're seeing more and more employers looking for candidates with degrees in civil engineering, marine engineering, even environmental science.
So you're saying a love for giant machines and a strong stomach for, like, rough seas isn't quite enough.
Yeah,
Gotta eat the books, too.
Let's just say understanding fluid mechanics or coastal erosion. It's just as important as knowing your way around that hydraulic pump, especially when you're responsible for millions of dollars worth of equipment
Yeah,
and the safety of your team.
that makes sense. What about real-world experience, though? I'm guessing you can't just ace that fluid mechanics exam and walk onto a dredger expecting to call the shots.
You're right, hands-on experience is key. Internships are a great way to get your feet wet, literally.
Yeah.
Many companies offer internships to engineering students, and it's a chance to learn the ropes from seasoned professionals. You're not just fetching coffee, you're assisting with surveys, observing dredging operations, maybe even get to operate some smaller equipment.
Talk about a resume builder, right?
Exactly.
Our source material from RoleCatcher mentions joining professional organizations. What's the benefit of that? Is it just like networking events with little sandwiches and awkward small talk?
Well, yes, but don't underestimate those little sandwiches.
Right.
Joining organizations like the World Organization of Dredging Associations or the Western Dredging Association can be really invaluable. You get to rub shoulders with industry veterans, you learn about the latest technologies and trends, you might even bump into your future boss. These organizations, they often host conferences and workshops, which are gold mines for knowledge and for connections.
So it's about building that network early on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've snagged that internship, maybe you joined a professional organization, you're on the path. What does that career ladder even look like? How do you go from like deckhand to captain of the dredging world?
So it's all about gaining experience and taking on more responsibility. A typical trajectory might start as a junior dredging supervisor. You're assisting the senior supervisors, managing smaller tasks, making sure safety protocols are followed. As you prove yourself, you might move up to dredging supervisor, overseeing larger sections of a project, coordinating with different teams, troubleshooting problems.
And then you reach like the top of that dredging pyramid. What does that look like?
Think senior dredging supervisor, even project manager. You're responsible for the entire dredging operation, from planning and budgeting to execution and reporting. You're leading a team of supervisors, coordinating with clients and stakeholders, and ensuring that the project is completed on time, within budget, and to the highest standards.
Well, that's what I call career progression.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher has those example profiles, right? What kind of insights do those offer?
Oh, they're fantastic for understanding the day-to-day realities of the different career stages. So, for instance, they profile a senior dredging supervisor who actually started as a surveyor. He worked his way up, gained expertise in all these different dredging techniques, and now he's managing multi-million-dollar projects in challenging environments. These profiles highlight the skills, the qualifications, even the personality traits that are crucial for success at each level.
Okay, so you've climbed the ladder, you've honed your skills, you're ready for that senior dredging supervisor position. Time for the interview. What are some common questions they might throw your way? I'm guessing, what's your favorite type of dredge? Isn't going to cut it.
You'd be surprised. Enthusiasm goes a long way.
Yeah.
But you're right, they'll want to dig a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher actually provides some great examples of potential interview questions. They might ask you, how do you ensure dredging activities are carried out in compliance with environmental regulations? Or, how would you handle a situation where the dredging equipment malfunctions and delays the project timeline?
Those are tough questions.
They're designed to assess your problem-solving skills, your ability to think on your feet, and really your understanding of the industry's complexities.
So it's not just about reciting textbook knowledge. They want to see how you'd actually handle those real-world challenges.
Exactly.
What about those behavioral questions? You know, the ones that make you, like, rack your brain for that one specific example from your past?
Oh, absolutely. Those are a staple in almost every interview. They want to understand how you've dealt with conflict, how you motivate a team, how you handle pressure. Being prepared with concise, compelling stories that really illustrate your skills and experience is crucial.
I bet those example profiles come in handy for that too, right?
100%. They can give you a sense of the specific challenges and triumphs you might face in this role, which can help you tailor your answers to resonate with those interviewers.
It's all about showing them you're not just qualified on paper, but you have the real-world experience and the right mindset to excel in that environment. RoleCatcher seems to have a tool for everything.
Do they offer any help with actually prepping for those interview questions?
They do. They have this really cool feature where you can upload your resume and the job description, and their AI will actually generate personalized practice questions based on that specific role and even analyze your responses to give you feedback.
Whoa.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket. Speaking of pockets, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or I guess I should say the salary in the harbor. What's the earning potential look like for dredging supervisors? Is it as lucrative as it sounds? So give it to us straight. What are these dredging supervisors taking home?
Well, it's not so much about taking home as it is, carefully relocating sediment. But I get what you're saying. Salary really depends. Experience level, the location, the type of project, it all factors in. But generally speaking, dredging supervisors, they earn a very, very comfortable living. We're going to be talking six figures, even multiple six figures for the ones at the top.
Wow. Okay, so the earning potential is definitely there. But we've talked a lot about like the here and now. What about the future of dredging? How's all this new technology? How's that changing the game? And what does it mean for, someone who wants to become a dredging supervisor?
It's the million-dollar question these days, right? I mean, we are seeing some mind-blowing advancements in automation, AI,
Mm.
and the dredging industry is no exception. Think autonomous dredgers, robotic surveying, predictive modeling based on real-time data. It's a field that's constantly evolving.
So are the robots taking over? Should we all just pack it up and go home?
Not quite. I mean, yes, automation is definitely going to change how things are done, but it's not about replacing humans entirely. I see it more as, it's an opportunity. Dredging supervisors, they need to level up their skills, embrace those new technologies.
So what does that look like practically speaking? If you're an aspiring dredging supervisor, what skills should you be focusing on to really thrive in this, like, tech-driven future?
Data analysis, for sure. Dredging's only becoming more data-driven, so supervisors need to be able to interpret all that data, identify trends, make those smart decisions based on the data. They'll also need to really understand the software, the systems that are used to control and monitor all these automated processes.
So it's like a tech-savvy mind, but with that old-school hands-on know-how.
You got it. The dredging supervisor of the future. They're going to be this unique hybrid. They can troubleshoot a hydraulic system 1 minute, analyze data to optimize a dredging pattern the next. It's a really exciting time to be getting into this field. There's so much potential.
Now, that is something to think about. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the everyday realities to all those cool possibilities in this really unique career path.
And hey, if this deep dive got you thinking about other fields, maybe bridge construction, underwater engineering, really anything where you're, building the future, RoleCatcher's the place to go.
They've got all the info. And who knows, maybe we'll do a deep dive on one of those careers next. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.